Okay. Any question about the material? Right now, it's still pretty much hand waving, right? Without too much technical details. So should be still easy, right? Let's go back here. We see that we can combine features. X1, if X1 is lightness, X2 is width. We no longer use the original future pixel values, right? We don't think that's good feature. They are long, lousy, and not salient. If these are good enough, we get a future vector of only 2 dimensions. Easy to store, easy to compute, and pretty much solve the same problem we have with storing all the pixel values, right? That means you don't need to store the image. You have a small chip, or it doesn't have to be cheap. It just to be kind of some kind of computing capabilities on the sensor. The sensor captures the image, compute the lightness, compute the width, the length of width, and then just pass that vector to computer. You only store that. You actually don't care much about how fish look like. I just need the result. And then I have a good database index, each one with this feature. The job is done, right? But will that be enough? Does adding more features always help? It might be difficult and computationally expensive to extract more features. You remember, this comes at cost. Unlike your original feature vectors, this storage is higher, but have no cost, right? No computation cost. Storage cost, but no computation cost. This one, low storage cost, but there's an approach. There's some computation to get this, right? When you have multiple ones, are they always necessary? You are always trying to get a cheap solution. Right? That solution that can get you good results, but cheap. Combination of features might yield better performance. It's not always the more the better. Sometimes after a certain point, it's not the more the better. The more the same, or even the more the become, you will see the performance drop. You have too many clues. Some of them even, interleviate your decision. And the correlated and irrelevant feature will not improve the performance redundancy. At least it's lousy. It increases the redundancy. Right? And adding too many features can paradoxically lead to a worsening of performance. This is known as the curse of dimensionality. They got the name for it called curse of dimensionality. And in reality, people also don't do that because every feature comes at a cost. If I already reach a reasonable performance, why I need to increase my cost? And technically, what does curse of dimensionality mean? This is a very fancy concept. It shows up a lot in machine learning, deep learning. It actually ended the second rise of deep learning. There are 3. Right now, we are experiencing the third rise of deep learning. And previously, deep learning has been as hot, as popular as nowadays before. One is in 1990s. Even earlier, in the 1960s, it's almost, the hype of neural networks. And the curse of dimensionality ends the hype of the second rise of deep learning. And then becomes almost 15 years popularity of supported vector machine. what is curse of dimensionality? Typically, this is what happens when we keep adding more and more features. It turns out that the more features we add, the more data we also need for training. Oh, that's the downside. It seems, okay, if I don't care about cost, I just add more features. I increase my feature vectors. Maybe 2 is not that good. With length and brightness, you only get 80% accuracy. Okay, I find a weight, 85. I add some other factor, 87, add 89, add 90, add 91, add 92, 92.1. And I keep doing this. I don't care about, I have supercomputer. Okay. And eventually what researcher observed, no. In the end, 91. And keep doing this, not just 91, 80. What? The performance suddenly dropped to 80% accuracy. What happens? It's because if you keep adding future dimensionalities, it's like a fitting what? Fitting points. This is dimension 2, you get a plane. Dimension 3, you have another axis perpendicular to this, you get a space. Dimension 4, you need a super space. 5, hyperspace. If you get a 128 dimension, you need more points. You need more data. 5 points is enough for you to get a line in 2D space, but not in 128, right? Because in 128 space, dimensional space, if they project that to certain dimension, 5 points, they all drop to the same point. You cannot separate. You need hundreds of points. Because you keep adding these dimensionalities, for example, 1000 dimensionality, 128 point, hundreds of points is not enough. You need thousands of points, even more. And this becomes problems. It turns out that the more features we add, the more data we also need for training. Here's the bad news. The number of training data requires growth exponentially with the number of features. Not linearly. If it's linearly, it's okay. Exponentially means what? Okay. If I have a dimension 2, maybe I got in the number of 5, right? Dimension 3, I have maybe that's enough. Or I maybe have several hundred. If you keep doing this, e to the power of 100, how much is it? That's probably this long. You need that much features to that much data points to be able to fit all the dimensionalities. So that's, in practice, we see this curve. That's the number of features, or we call it future vector dimensionalities. That's the performance, and in our case, is the accuracy, prediction accuracy. Before a certain threshold, right here, the more features, the better. And after that, it hurts the performance. That makes computation or pattern recognition an art, right? If there's no such thing, there's nothing to research about. There's no existence of this class. The richer the better. It's just because we have this curse of dimensionality. I'm important. I know how to find the best dimensionality in practice. That's the purpose. We take this class, right? Okay. Let's see why. The curve of dimensionality. Suppose we apply uniform sampling to collect the training data for each class. Uniform. Okay.
Slide stop.
Oh. Okay. Uniform sampling. Uniform sampling, you know what does it mean, right? Uniform distribution. Anybody know? Okay. Means all the same, right? The amount of data needed to cover some range of features, for example, 20% of the space, grows exponentially with the number of dimensionalities. Oh, this shows example in the low dimensional. 1D is a line, 2D is a plane, 3D is a space. Okay. The amount, let me repeat this slowly. The amount of data needed to cover some range of features grows exponentially with the number of dimensionalities. 20% of 1D is okay, right? 20% of x-axis as well as y-axis of 2D, I mean, now it become an area of this much, right? This is how to say? Yeah, that's true. So it basically says I need a 20%. It's not 20% of one axis. If it's 20% of one axis, this will be 0.5, right? It basically says holistically, it's in the 2D space. It basically says 20% of the area of the plane. Okay. Cubic, 20% volume of the cubic. This grows from the number if we only look at one axis, grows from 0.2 to 0.45 to 0.85. And in 4-dimensional space, this will increase even further. To maintain this 20%, actually, if you look at one axis, one-dimensional, this ratio increase is no longer 20%. It has already grown from 20% to 45% to 85%. And this is only dimension 3. And this will grow exponentially if you have very high dimensionality. Even almost close to 1. That's curve, right? That's a curve. And why it's called a curve of dimensionality. To maintain, this becomes 20% of the volume or super volume. Let's divide each future dimension uniformly into m cells. D equals 1, you divide it by 4 cells. D equals dimension 2. Each axis 3 cells, you got a 3 by 3, 9. Dimension 3, you also get this. It's actually 3 by 3 by 3. Sample at least one data point from each cell. What is the total number of cells? It's m to the power of d, right? 3, if in this case, 3 or 4, 4, right? Its number is m to the power of d. D is the number of features. Therefore, the number of training data grows exponential with d. You got what I mean? Let me stop by this page a little bit. Let's divide each future dimension uniformly into m cells. How many cells? Let's put this as a concurrent number. How many cells do you want? In dimension 1? 4 cells, right? For example, 4 cells. And in dimension 2? 9? Why 9? Why 16? Explain to me.
Because when you divide each axis being a subspace of plane into 4 cells, then it means in the whole plane, the surface is covered by 4 squared.
Yeah, it's divided by
cells.
4. Okay. Then why on this middle figure, it only draws 3 by 3? Could you imagine one? Why?
But on the drawing, there is also 3 cells. It's not 4 cells. In one dimension. The response.
Anybody have other opinion? I try to motivate you guys to, we don't need to rush the progress. Because this is a very important concept. It says sample at least one data point from each cell, and then ask what is the total number of cells, right? Let's go back one. For this page, anybody question? You understand, right? No question. Explain to us. Yeah. Explain this. I will go to the podium. Yeah. What does this slide tell us?
Can I see?
Yeah.
The professor. Very comfortable chair compared to ours. So yeah, the problem in increasing dimensionality is in the fact that the amount of cells, let's divide the one axis into like discrete samples, not to deal with continuous quantities. The number of cells that we'll need to take from the higher volumes, from the higher spaces, increases exponentially with growth of dimensions. Because if we need to keep the ratio of the part that we take in each dimensionality of the space constant, like here, 20%, then we just like calculating the ratio in higher dimensions, which grows also with number of dimensions. Like in 1D, it's ratio of lengths, it's first power. Then it's ratio of surface areas, it's power of 2. Then volume, power of 3, and so on, so on, so on. To maintain this ratio constant, we'll need to increase the part of the volume which we take to cover the same range of features. So that's what's going on. Oh, what are you writing in my
I'm
notebook?
calculating. I'm taking notes.
Me?
It's fine.
Cool.
I see visually that in all 3 figures, about 20% of space is red. But what is calculation? For example, how we get from 0.2 to 0.45?
No, the point is here that we always want to maintain the ratio of taken features to the total number of features, because that's what we actually want to consider in our task. It's kind of abstract. Imagine you have a space of features. You want...
Let's take only 2.
Only 2, even 2 is enough, I don't know. You want to take a certain percentage, like 20, like here. So when calculating the ratio of areas, 20% relates to 1 square, like 0.45 by 0.45. The same ratio in terms of lengths, only 0.2. Can I draw here? Yeah? How does it work?
Here.
Yeah.
Just get into areas.
Yeah. It's okay.
Look. here it's like
you use this part. It's okay.
Yeah. So here it's ratio of length. Like this part is what we want to take A. All the whole part is L. Then here it's A divided by L, 20%. Now here it's like, oh, it's A1.
Seems I got it. It's,
understood?
Square it.
Yeah, square the ratio. A2 over L squared, same 20%. Here cubed, so on, so on, so on.
What I just calculate on his notebook is that you can tell us what did I calculate? So basically I calculate 0.80. This is 3-dimensional, right? I'm calculate 89%. Multiply 89%. Multiply 89%. Because I didn't bring my phone, so I don't have a calculator. So let's do it. Okay. 0.89, right? 0.89.
58.
It's almost 20%, right?
Yes.
So you want, it says you need to, that's a standard rule. This can be changed just from experience. Okay, this case 0.45 multiply 0.45.
Yeah.
Right. You want to maintain holistically because it's 2D dimensional space. So what you count is by the area, right? It's 3D space. What you count is by the volume. 20% of the volume, 20% of the area. In order to maintain that 20% in low dimensional space, you just need that is exactly 20%. In 2D dimensional space, it becomes 45. 3D, it becomes 50 something, almost 60%. You will imagine this growth. This is by giving example. You can put this using variables, basically. The real percentage, let's call it percentage P, to the dimension of D should be 20%. How do I get P? Anybody, any clue? How to solve P?
Log.
Okay, log, okay. Log of this. Then D come here. D is a scalar, right? It's okay. Then how to compute P? Taking exponential, right? Right? Log of 20%. Let's put this as a, this actually is your expected rule. Let's put it as R, okay? But this R, once fixed, is a constant, right? This D stays in the power part. And you will see the larger D, this becomes smaller. Oh, it must do something wrong. Then this becomes exponential smaller. Anything wrong? Anybody finds what's wrong? It seems the larger D, because it's in the dividend, so it becomes smaller, right? And holistically, this becomes smaller. That seems not right. Against this, right? Again, this is what it's saying here. If I have a D as 3 compared to D as 1, anything wrong here? Realize where I did it wrong. I just take the log, right? I will write this again. The percentage P P, for example, I basically want to calculate this. I put this as P, okay? So P to the power of dimensionality, right? Becomes your R, okay? Anything wrong here? And for example, which is that correct? Okay, no problem, right? Keep moving. I take a log, like you said. Take a log.
No, but everything on the left is correct.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah.
Take a log. Right? Still correct?
Just take roots of order D or like this, the same equivalent.
This is correct? Okay, let's go. Let's make it very clear, okay? Still correct? Still correct? Still correct? Any against it? Still correct? In order to solve P, should I take exponential? Still correct? Let's check. That's correct, right? That's 1. E to the log, the cancel, right? Let's check again. Log of what? Log of R. R is 0.2. No, this should not, right? That's how they calculate this, right? That I can put. That's how they calculate it. That's correct, right? I can move this to the power part, right? That basically means this, right? Is that 0.45? Calculator. Later. Take the square root. Yeah. 0.45. Yeah, that's correct. And same, gonna check. Right? You're the same for me. Thank you. Take not a square root, this how to say it? Cubic root of the 0.85, right? 85. So all the way is correct, right? It's correct. And we just make this out, okay? Change the color. Let's check, does this match with this? Log R, I mean, this anyway is constant. I don't care, okay? It doesn't matter of this, right? So, is that correct? The number of points, when D increase, 1 over D decrease.
But log R is always below 0.
Log R is what? Could you draw log R? Log R is what?
It goes below 0 because R is in the range from 0 to 1.
Yeah. Because what? Only you pay attention. Okay, we stop. Anybody else? I just, on this page, I said, how come? It becomes something like this. Where did I miss it? I said, you see, this is what I did wrong. We already said, when the dimensionality grows, the number of points increase exponentially, right? And the number of points increase dimension means the percentage. This P increase a lot, and you see it increase from 20% to 45 to 80, 58, right? And I said, this log R is a constant. I mean, R, 20% is something, right? 80%, 50%, 20% is something, it's a constant. Then I say, D increase, 1 over D decrease, and then E over this decrease. It says D increase, the P decrease. How come? What's wrong here? Anybody? You have something to say.
Because you increase D at the bottom, so 1 divided on D will decrease.
Yeah, and decrease. And then E to that decrease. Are you sure it decrease?
And E would like increase.
Log look like this, right? Log is a monotonically increasing function, right? What's missing here? What's missing here? There's a negative sign somewhere, right? Should be. What's missing here? There's a direction just reversely, right? Is this? Yeah. Log R is, the number doesn't matter. It's a constant. The sign matters. It's a log of 0.2. It's a log of percentage. When it's percentage, it means it's under 1. Log of under 1 is a negative number. There's a negative 1 here, right? There's a negative something here. So D increase, 1 over D decrease, and negative 1 over D increase. So P increase. You got it? It's not the exact value of log R matters. It's the log R is a negative value. The sign matters. So eventually we have something. This is the number of points you need is E to the negative something 1 over D. And then make sure K is a large number. Okay. And because it's a constant, I don't care, I get rid of it. Okay. It's like that, right? And because there are two is 1 over something, and the negative, this cancels. Okay, fair enough, right? I mean, roughly, fair enough, right? Because you get a 1 divided by something and negative, okay? And then we just say this E is what? Is M, okay? We don't care about what exactly is M, because M is something, right? So that's the curse of dimensionality comes from. Any question? Basically, this page, these 2 pages says you increase the curse of dimensionality, the number of dimensionality, you exponentially increase the percentage of data points you need. Right? That's it. Any question in the back? No? Would you have a question? You understand? You don't have a question and you don't understand, what does that mean? That means understand and not understand. It's very important. If I have an exam for this class, this definitely be the first valid point gonna be tested. I won't test on what applications of PR, salmon, this kind of stuff. That has no point to test. If I won't have a test, it's about this. Okay. If you're gonna have a job interview, I warranty you will have questions about this, not about how many points do you need to do face recognition, right? That's the meat. Okay. In the interest of time, I gotta just stop here. If you want to take picture, you can, but beyond that, we're gonna continue. Okay. Basically explains why this M is exponential, right? Okay. Okay. I leave here, but this part continue. Missing features. Certain features might be missing due to occlusion. Yeah, that always happens, like a truncated, like a mask. How should we train a classifier with missing features? With missing features means, that's long dimensionality. Some of the elements I don't know. Okay? Just put zero there. Because I miss it. You have to put something. Yeah, you have some say.
Better to say that the direct definition no or not.
No. But if you put a no in a vector, it's not computable. Right? It's not a number. You will make that not a numerically calculable. Idea what?
Gradient boosting trees is only.
Continue. Gradient boosting. Yeah, I would like to help. Yeah.
What?
Like how gradient boosting relate to missing elements in the future?
No, I mean gradient boosting trees. So basically trees can handle node numbers.
Why trees can handle missing numbers?
Because you can have a condition about this. If we don't know about these numbers and we don't need this feature, we will rely on other features.
I sort of agree and disagree. The agree part is that trees definitely have some advantages of missing leaves. You can still have other parts, right? What I disagree is that how does that relate to my question?
Well, we can just input the mean value.
Compute the mean value. Oh, good.
You can interpolate in any other case.
Yeah. Instead of putting 0, what number could be better than 0?
Because
some statistics.
You can use some algorithm like k-nearest neighbor algorithm.
What algorithm?
Like to fill the missing values.
Where the missing values?
How?
we can use some algorithm like k-nearest neighbor algorithm.
K-nearest neighbor.
Yeah.
You already touched upon that part. Okay.
And we can also decide if there's data is missing and we cannot be sure what to fill, so we can discard that data. We eliminate, yeah.
You mean you gonna get rid of those missing dimensions?
Yeah.
Then it will be 100. For the rest will be 128, and this one will be 120.
Yeah.
Will that be good?
Maybe.
How do you calculate the similarity between the 128 vector and the 120?
We can try. First, we can try it by eliminate the data which is missing, and then.
What he suggests is that.
And then we can fill out the data and then check what's the accuracy and.
Are you suggesting because you are missing for the people for the dimensionality, full dimensionality, you get rid of your part as well? Let's be fair. That's all 120. Are you suggesting that?
I guess we can eliminate the missing data 120. We are okay. If we are okay with 120, we can check it.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of great ideas. Let's check what Duda thinks about this, okay? Duda is the author of the book. Definitely need a better stuff for me. I cannot use the trash can for the whole semester. So, what I summarized from the survey just now, one idea is that we don't put 0 in the missing dimensionality. We can put the median or the mean, right, for the rest future vectors. I mean, for the rest, you don't miss the elements. So you guys must have a mean. And then put that mean value there. That's the idea. And what he suggested is that you miss it, probably let's all get rid of that. That's kind of waste. Yeah, because of you didn't have that part, because you two didn't attend the Friday 2 lectures. We're gonna not count on the Friday afternoon attendance. That's not fair.
But Laushi, October
4. Okay.
But Laushi, if we fill out the missing data with some mean value, don't you think it can mislead us?
Why mislead?
Because we are not sure about what would be the exact value of those missing data. Maybe the mean is totally wrong in this value.
He says probably the missing element. What if they are 0? And you get something like a large. You know?
Technically, do I mean by the right class? By the correct class? If we are talking about the train.
Yeah.
Good. This is a good point to end today's lecture, because everyone counting by the facial expression, I think everyone is curious. Since you are curious, why not go home, do a little bit of research? I don't want you to directly read the textbook or read the slides. Think about this. Given what we just covered, to compare the similarity between 2 future vectors and some of them missing elements, what might be a good way to do it? And bring your question, bring your thinking back on Friday. How about that? And we continue from there. Okay.
Someone suggested like interpolation.
Yeah, interpolation could be. Actually, taking median is one way to. I mean, the rudimentary way. Yeah, that could be. But if it's the case, this could be right, that could be right. That's not, I mean, principle, right? We need a principled approach for this. Okay. Think about it. How about that? Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
For sending homeworks.
Today we don't have homework today.
No, I mean the thing was that you mentioned.
You are interested in doing when we get to that point, okay? I'm gonna still share some of them with you. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So